Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Commissioner, thank you for being here. First, congratulations for the work the IRS has done over the past several months. As the ranking member, Chairman Neal mentioned, Democrats on this committee made an historic investment in the IRS last year when we passed the Inflation Reduction Act. Since then, I can tell you, I've heard from my staff in all three of my district offices how well they're working with the IRS. They have contact with your office hundreds, if not thousands of times a year, and they tell me that the IRS is noticeably significantly smoother than they've ever been before. You're responding faster, your responses are better, people answer the phones. My staff find the taxpayer advocates to be reliable and helpful partners as we try and work with our constituents. I've personally worked with you and with your team on specific issues, and I want to thank you. I've always found you to be helpful and your team to be professional and very well prepared. Unfortunately, the majority seems to think that the IRS budget is a slush fund to pay for every program that they want to pass and put into law. And I've lost track how many times they've tried to use the IRS budget to offset spending, despite reams of evidence proving that IRS cuts actually increase the deficit. I believe the only reason to work to cut the IRS budget is to either make consumer services worse or to make cheating on your taxes easier. I understand people don't like paying taxes, but this is how we fund our civilized society and the many programs that our constituents care about. So while we can disagree about tax policy on the specifics, we ought to all agree that on a bipartisan basis that people should follow the law and pay the taxes that they owe. Commissioner, when IRS funding is cut, what happens to our deficit?
It goes up. In fact, for every $100 million taken from the IRS, the deficit grows by $600 million over 10 years. And that's because—
$600 million.
$600 million.
Increase in our deficit.
For every $100 million cut, it's a $600 million increase in our deficit.
So when the IRS funding is cut, is it harder or is it easier for people to cheat on their taxes?
It's easier. And let me just, if I can go through $100 million, what that buys you at the IRS: 700 audits of high-income taxpayers, millionaires and billionaires, 200 audits of complex partnerships, 100 audits of large corporations, 32,000 collection cases of wealthy individuals, and on and on. And that's just from the 100 million. So clearly it has an impact.
Thank you. One thing that hopefully we can agree on both sides of the dais is modernization. Can you talk a little bit more about how you've used Inflation Reduction Act investments to modernize?
Yeah, absolutely. There's, one of the things that inspires me, Congressman, is before the Inflation Reduction Act, there was a famous picture in the Washington Post of our cafeteria in Austin, Texas, filled with unreviewed returns in paper. That cafeteria is now clean. People are eating in it rather than us storing tax returns. That's because we are aggressively digitizing and scanning all of our paper as part of our initiative to go paperless. This is important not because it's more efficient and more secure, but it means that we're going to process more quickly. And one of the things that's going on due to our modernization is we have significantly reduced the ongoing backlog of returns and correspondences.
Thank you. I'd like to just take a moment to talk about the investment in climate change in the IRA. This was the biggest investment in climate work in history in our country. How would you describe the rollout so far, and how would you characterize the uptake on tax credits like EV or solar credits?
Yeah, we've had a successful launch. In January, we launched our portal, our IT solution, that allows those that are eligible for credits related to the manufacturing and the transactions associated with electronic vehicles. And like any new solution, there are certain things that we could do to make it better and improve the customer experience. But overall, it's been robust participation, and the system has performed as expected.
Thank you. I yield back.
Mr. Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for conducting the hearing today. Mr. Warfel, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you.